Hello everyone. Not that it matters too much, but I got very busy and then took a break and then wrote, recorded and completely edited an iceberg video and then hated it and hated myself and had to re-record it, and whatever is coming soon, I promise. But I very recently discovered a girl boss feminist fake punk band on TikTok and I became obsessed with their story. So here's my ADHD hyperfocus deep dive video on an incredibly niche topic that I'm currently obsessed with. Tramp Stamps are a girl band based in Tennessee which formed in November 2020 who, at the time of recording this video, have just over 1,000, just under 400,000 and just about 27,000 followers on Twitter, TikTok and Instagram respectively. They originally blew up on TikTok with this video promoting their single I'd Rather Die. It seems that the band and their management are incredibly report and copyright claim happy, so I'll probably just have to read you the lyrics whilst playing some royalty-free rock music and you'll definitely get the idea because their music is incredibly basic.
I'd rather die than hook up with another straight white guy.
I'll get to the lyrics of this particular song in a bit, but it ended up causing huge controversy and leading to tons of TikTok users accusing the band of being industry plants. If you don't know what an industry plant is, it's essentially when a record label wants or needs to fit a certain niche, so they'll manufacture the success of a non-successful artist, often changing their entire aesthetic or genre to fit whatever will have the best monetary value. You might remember the controversy surrounding the SoundCloud rapper Baby Goth, who caused suspicion amongst her audience for immediately coming out with a song featuring already huge artists Lil Xan and Trippie Redd, which would be very unusual for an organically growing artist. Baby Goth also turned out to have a previous unsuccessful music career under the alias Bria Bueno and clearly had a very different vibe and writing style previously to her music as Baby Goth. All this talk of industry plants brings me to why people believe this to be true of Tramp Stamps. Buckle your boots and stay with me here because I have a lot to say. Like a lot of people, the first interaction I had with Tramp Stamps was watching this video on their TikTok. Their marketing is both kind of clever and incredibly transparent depending on the post you look at for reference. For some reason I was instantly intrigued by the band, and after a hearty scroll through their TikTok and an assessment of their rancid fucking vibes, I started to realise just how manufactured all of their TikTok presence is. It appears that they have a dedicated space for both recording music and bulk recording TikToks. They post these cover videos which are popular on YouTube and trick unfamiliar users into thinking these are just 3 great gal pals hanging out and covering Taylor Swift for funsies, as opposed to being a highly managed and manufactured girl group. They also post videos where they try and show their personalities, and in all of these videos they come across like 30-year-olds trying to be young and down with the kids. It's also strange to me that in a YouTube Q&A, when asked their age, they all made jokes and avoided the question. They're also the first thing to come up when you search, despite only having 5,000 subscribers. Tramp Stamps, which I assume is a pretty popular term on YouTube. After this TikTok vibe check, I immediately moved on to the band's other social media. One look at the group's Instagram honestly tells you all you need to know. Their first post, made in November 2020 before they'd even released any music, is literally a professionally made animation which shows us just how each member wants to be perceived. Their Instagram is probably the most interesting of their socials. You can really get a feel for the punk Riot Girl vibes they're trying to give. As someone who grew up listening to Riot Girl artists, the aesthetic being co-opted by 3 people who clearly don't understand its history or cultural importance is kind of weird. Sometimes gatekeeping's okay. Something that really comes across when you look at their Instagram is how aggressively millennial trying to relate to the Gen Z TikTok kids the whole thing is. They posted these weird starter packs and Valentine's cards which were popular on Instagram in like 2016. They each have a Powerpuff Girl they want you to associate with them, and they post terrible, heavily auto-tuned covers of pop punk songs like All the Small Things and Beverly Hills. They also have this whole mantra of we're just 3 gal pals that got drunk and started a band, hee hee, which comes across as super forced and weird. The band's Twitter isn't massively interesting, they mostly retweet fans and promote their music, so with all this being said, it's time to move on to the individual members. The group consists of lead singer Marissa Mano, guitarist Caro B, and drummer Paige Blue. It's important to know that all of the members had previously had less than successful music careers. Marissa had a sort of Lana Del Rey, Kali Uchis aesthetic, whilst Caro had this whole edgy 2014 Tumblr vibe, and Paige is actually a producer who actually had some Republican Sona vibes before getting her hair dyed blue for Tramp Stamps. And it really is an awful coincidence how all 3 members have the exact same root growth, indicating that their hair got dyed these bright and marketable colours that match the 90s pop punk loving audience they're trying to appeal to on the exact same day. I think it was a mistake for the members to not scrub their social medias before launching the band with a wildly different aesthetic to their past posts, as it made it so easy for people to realise how inorganic they are. I'm not trying to say people can't drastically switch up their aesthetics in a short period of time, but it really is a huge coincidence that all three of them did exactly that at the same time and adopted the same riot, girl boss, feminist, punk pop aesthetic, and it just so happens to suit the vibes of the band. Now we've met the members and understand the context of the group, it's time to get into the fun bit, the band's controversy. Despite the band only having existed for about 5 months, it's already had its fair share of controversy, the main focus of which seems to be the industry plant theory. I've also seen theories that these are just 3 women with rich parents who wanted a get rich and famous quick scheme, and whilst I can't prove either of these things, the band has had its fair share of controversy in the few short months it's even existed. I just want to say that all of this is totally alleged, and all I'm going to do is present to you my findings and you guys can come to your own conclusions. Another big controversy the band has had is regarding the lyrics for its latest single, I'd Rather Die. The most controversial lyrics being, I'd rather die than hook up with another straight white guy, which caused people to believe the band was fetishizing people of colour and ultimately coming across as very fake woke and performative. They were also accused of fetishizing and romanticizing being LGBT in a slimy, gross way. The band made TikTok video responses to both of these controversies, one being, in my opinion, a piss poor apology in which they claim they are not fetishizing POC, which, you know, as white people, it's not their place to say whether they are or aren't. Maybe they should listen to POC instead of denying something that has come across as racist. And one where the lead singer clarifies that she's gay, but unfortunately this came across as weird queer baiting, as she didn't clarify she's bisexual and not a lesbian as the comment she's responding to suggests. Also, Paige is literally married to a straight white guy, which makes the sentiment of the song seem pretty fucking hollow. Marissa was further accused of racism when some old tweets of her using a racial slur surfaced, and this has caused her to private her Twitter, and she's not directly addressed the accusations. It's absolutely not my place to say whether someone deserves to be forgiven or cancelled for something they did in 2013, but I can say with absolute certainty that it's not very feminist intersectional girl boss of her to not address claims of racism. Furthermore, the group actually has ties to literal sexual predator and rapist Dr. Luke, with whom Carabay and Marissa are signed. This doesn't necessarily mean they're bad people. Plenty of artists are signed to Dr. Luke's various labels, and by no means do I think this makes them guilty by association or anything like that. However, I find it alarming that a band whose entire aesthetic is dismantle the patriarchy, fuck straight white men, girls rock, make tampons free, would sign with a known rapist and predator when there's already such a problem with performative activists on social media right now. They've also kind of cleverly created their own label, Make Tampons Free, to direct attention away from this fact. The fact that they chose Make Tampons Free as its name and didn't even cease the edgy feminist punk aesthetic for their fake label is pretty funny though. To move on to less serious but just as psycho controversy, it's been widely speculated that the band or their management have been making their own fan accounts to respond to haters. I'm not saying any or all of these fan accounts are Tramp Stamp or their management, but I do find it strange that a band that's been around for 5 months and has released 3 original songs has so many fan accounts created, just as they've begun to get roasted on Twitter for being alleged industry plants and a whole manner of other controversies, including the ones I've already mentioned. The main source of suspicion for this is that a Tramp Stamps fan account, try saying that one 10 times fast, created last month seemed to make a Freudian slip and referred to the band as we instead of they. And the account seems to have searched Tramp Stamps on Twitter and responded to almost every negative tweet about them. It's also interesting that a lot of these accounts seem to have similar typing styles and post similar things about the band. My personal favourite thing to come from this drama is this Twitter post from the same Tramp Stamps stan account I mentioned before, being an edit of the Tramp Stamps members at fucking Stonewall. Tramp Stamps threw the first brick at Stonewall. I may have missed out some things here and there.
And you absolutely did, Tabby. You completely forgot to mention that there's been drama about the Tramp Stamps supporting Dolls Kill, a notoriously unethical alternative clothing brand whose CEO made some really dodgy comments about BLM and the protests in summer of 2020 after George Floyd's death. So that's not very good. Really not good. Shouldn't buy your clothes from there. Please don't do it.
But there you go lads, that's my explanation of Tramp Stamps and their controversy. I know this video is random and a bit different from your regularly scheduled programming, but I promise I will re-record the iceberg video I was going to post today before hating it. Thanks so much for watching. If you've got any opinions on this, talk to me about them in the comments below, follow my socials or whatever, and have a great day.